Amen. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to start this lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rcha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Salutations unto the 144,000. Doing the work of the Lord in all truth, honor, and sincerity, and shalom to the 1/3 men, women, and children who believe in this word being taught unto them. Brother Amna wa Allah, back at you with another video entitled "The Triumphing of the Wicked is Short." Because a lot of the time you have to behold the prosperity of the wicked, as Asaph spoke of in Psalm 73, and it's like, raw. Like, so why am I here trying to live righteously then? If these, wicked people just get to go about being wicked and still prosper in this life. But that's all a facade, man. And that's all but for a moment. Alright, so let's start off there in Psalm 73. It says in Psalm 73:1, a psalm of Asaph. Truly the Most High is good to evil. Wow, that's statement, man. It says, truly the Most High is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. You see, and you have countless examples of that. Think about Job. He wasn't going through all that suffering because he was wicked. Job was one of the righteous people on the whole land at that particular time. Okay, so it's just about understanding the dynamics of the current setup right now, which is Job 9:24. Funnily enough, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So it's like, if you want to be able to do well in this society, considering that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, well then guess what? You do the math. What kind of individual are you going to have to be if you want to make it here in this society? You're going to have to be wicked. Alright? Otherwise, you ain't making it here, bro. Things ain't going to work out for you here. If you're not willing to sell out, you're not willing to be a deviant, you're not willing to be wicked, then you ain't going to go very far in this life. And that's just the truth. We're not in a setup right now where righteousness is rewarded. We have to wait patiently for that. Okay? So I'm going to jump down to verse 12 now in Psalm 73. And it says, behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. All right, it didn't say these are the godly, it said these are the ungodly. All right, so you have to understand the current setup in this life. If you want to make it in this life, you have to be wicked. You have to be of the ungodly, and then things will work out in your favor. You're going to have to sell out. You're going to have to do certain things, certain lewd acts, okay? And then you'll be able to get far in this life, all right? Because that's the current setup of this world, all right? So what did he say in the next verse? In 13, he said, verily I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocency. So he's like, basically, he's on this righteous tip for nothing. Because if he's just going to try and be righteous and things just ain't going to work out for him still, then it's like, what's the point of him being righteous? You know, he might as well just be wicked, since the wicked are getting away with being wicked and there's no punishment for their wickedness. So he's like, why the hell am I here trying to be on this righteous tip? You see? And a lot of the time, sometimes you may feel like that, you know, especially, you know, now more so than then, because you know, this world is a lot more wicked now than it was when this psalm was written. Okay, so that demonic influence is even stronger today. Okay. 14. For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning. Because here it is again, you're trying to be righteous, you're trying to do the right thing, but you're the one that's getting chastened all the time, right? If I say I will speak thus, behold, I should offend against the generation of thy children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me, until I went into the sanctuary of the Most High. Then understood I their end. You know, what did he do? He went into the precepts. He went back into the scriptures, man. Through thy precepts, I get understanding, right? So he went back to the precepts and he realized, oh, this is how it's meant to be. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. Oh, now it's starting to make sense. Now I see why, even though I'm living a righteous life, I'm still catching hell for it. Okay? So he goes on to say, in 18, surely thou didst set them in slippery places, thou castest them down into destruction. So he realized that really what's happened is the Most High has set these wicked people up in slippery places. Alright? Imagine, you know, you got someone running the fastest they can run, and then they're running downhill. So you know, when you're running downhill and you running fast, it's a lot harder to stop, right? And then all you have in front of you is just a stream of banana peels. Okay? Now you notice it, and now you trying to stop yourself, you trying to slow down, but then again you on a downward trajectory, okay? And then so you can't really effectively slow down. So then what ends up happening is you end up running straight into those stream of banana peels, and then you end up slipping and falling. And that's pretty much what the Most High has done to the wicked. Now it's still yet to play out, but hey, regardless, this is exactly how it's going to play out, right? 19 of Psalm 73, it says, how are they brought into desolation? As in a moment, all right? Because it's going to happen so suddenly. It's going to be as if the wicked were never in a lofty position, all right? It says they are utterly consumed with terrors, because terrors are going to come past them on every side, man. Okay? There's going to be a reward for their wickedness. You know, in the book of Job chapter 4, it says, whoever perished being innocent. Okay? So just because it doesn't happen on our timing doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. You know? Read Zephaniah 3 and 8, which in fact, I'll get that real quick. Zephaniah 3 and 8 says, therefore wait ye upon me. So we have to wait on the Lord, Akim. Okay? Until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So we have to wait until the Lord rises up unto the prey. It's not for us to take matters into our own hands and try and resolve things the carnal way. You know, we have to always remain on the spiritual tip, okay? Because it's easy to spin this car out real quick. It's easy to get carnal and just be like, oh yeah, you know, things just ain't happening on my timing, so I'm just gonna take matters into my own hands. But you taking matters into your own hands might not necessarily be the best, might not necessarily yield the best outcome for you. So the best thing you can do is just suffer patiently, wait on the Lord, trust and have faith, and eventually the Lord will better your situation, man. You know? But we ain't gonna get too far if we seek to resolve matters our own way. Okay? So we must remember that. Alright? We have a power in heaven who sees the various different struggles that we have to deal with, and you know, he's gonna do something about it, man. He ain't just gonna leave here to just suffer, but his will has to be done, and we have to play our role in his will. And right now, our role in his will is to play the low position, man. As we just read in Zephaniah 3:8, therefore wait ye upon me until I rise up to the prey. So it's not a matter of if the Lord is going to rise up to the prey, but more so a matter of when. But that's not for us to know when he's going to rise up to the prey. The same way, hey man, Yahushua is the second highest being in existence. Okay? And not even he knows. All power is given unto him as well. Yahweh gave Yahushua all power. But not even he knows, you know, the time that the Lord has set for him, as in Yahushua, to return on this earth. Not even Yahushua knows that, man. So, you know, we gotta consider that. Okay? So going back to Psalm 73. You know, I was pretty much done with that. I'll read 19 again. How are they brought into desolation as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors, because that's ultimately what's going to be the reward of the wicked. Everything is going to be all good until it's not. And, you know, they're not gonna see it coming. They're not going to be able to escape it. You know, the judgment is going to be set. All right, and there's nothing that they can do about it, man. So now let's get Job 20 and verse 4. And it reads, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Okay? So it says the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment, man. So even though it might seem like it's forever, the Lord said it's but for a moment. Okay? It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? You know? Because even, you know, thinking about Esau, all right, as lofty of a position that he's in, that's just for a moment. Eventually, sooner rather than later, his kingdom is going to come tumbling down. And then it's going to be as if he was never in rulership. And we've already got a perfect example of that. Look at the ancient Egyptians. Okay, during the time of Martyzium. Who are the ancient Egyptians today? The Hamites. All right, those doo-doo eating Africans, man. Look how much of a low position they're in. Would you ever believe that they once had one of the greatest empires back then? You wouldn't believe that looking at them now. But that's exactly what the Lord is going to do to the wicked of this world, man. All right, and those who decide to follow after Esau, Edom's wickedness. You know, he's going to bring them down, but in a moment. So it's like we have to bear the prosperity of the wicked, as Asaph said, but knowing in our hearts that it's not forever, it's not permanent, it's temporary, and the Lord is and will most definitely come down and rain on their parade, man. So we ain't got nothing to worry about. We just have to suffer patiently, as it tells us in the book of Baruch 4:25, all right, and keep the faith, and really not even bother about how the wicked are going to be punished. You know, the scriptures tell us that. I think it's either in 2nd Esdras 8 or 2nd Esdras 9. It basically says, don't worry about how the wicked are going to be punished, man, but rather be concerned about how the righteous are going to be saved. That's where our focus should be, you know. So yeah, man, I just wanted to touch on that real quick, you know, just some early morning thoughts. I pray, Lord willing, it's been edifying. Until the next time, I say shalom. Stay up, stay strong.